said the right word there because in my practice, I do consulting for family. I don't know if this is true of only of our family or in other families. You all could share it. That proverb, that saying you said in research, was told to us: the first generation creates the wealth, and the third generation wastes everything. And of course, we were the third generation. So that was all it was. It's danger, you all watch yourself and so on. And when you can, and I can understand that perspective, from a founder's perspective, my grandfather started working in a grocery, saving pennies to go and open a parlor and then buy land, and it has developed tremendously since then. At the same time, what led him to that success has to be some of his background and business environment at the time. His grandchildren, myself, my brothers, and so on, we grew up totally differently than that. I don't think anyone can expect the same characteristics of a founder, be it a grandfather, be it a father, be it a son, and my children, to be the same. We all have different lifestyles, different ways of seeing things. But succession is still a primary issue. Most of the time, the reasons for failure is that succession is not planned. I mean, to be succinct, it is usually that most of the times it is either forced because of divorce, because of death. You also have succession where the person has built the business but may not necessarily be the ideal person to train their children in the business. You may also have disinterest of the children in the business because of what I spoke of before. If you have grown up very differently than your parents or your grandparents, you may have entirely different interests altogether. So the passion of one may not be the passion of the next generation. So sometimes there are social obligations, family obligations, financial pressure that may lead one to go into the family business. But like everything else, sometimes people can do tremendously well in it and fantastic and take it to other levels. But sometimes it's sort of square peg and round hole. It's not what they want to know, what they wanted to do, but they feel that they ought to do it, or they feel they have no other route to do it. So I think therein, it's not as simple as, success starts off and it's wasted. It's a lot more complicated than that. And anything to do with families, if you ask any one of us, or any people in the family business to talk about how families evolve and relationship with parents and siblings and grandparents, it's not something you can just write out. It's complicated. You write down policies and so on in one business, but in how it's done in a family is very, very different. So I think that degree of complexity, intergenerational and across generations, impact businesses in ways that are not necessarily for the only and sole purpose and benefit of sustaining family businesses. That's my long-winded answer.
I have a problem with the word succession. I think that succession is not elimination. And I think that is something that a lot of people tend to believe. Succession means elimination, equated to elimination, meaning that you are no longer in charge, this is the person in charge. And that is not the way succession is supposed to be. Succession is not supposed to be, you understand? It's not meant to be like that. It's not meant to be a sudden transference of all the power and all the authority to another person, leaving the person that was in charge before and created the company now powerless and at the mercy of the new successor. That is not the way it's meant to be. And I think that, unfortunately, is what the connotation that this word succession has. And succession really and truly is a process, is a very long process if it's done properly. And succession is supposed to start from the day you bring your family member into the family business. Or the day that you say, look, you know what, I'm taking you all and you all come to work and get paid a salary and that sort of thing. to me, succession has, let's say, 4 stages, right? Preparation. Preparation is come into the business, you're working at the lower level, you work your way up, you learn responsibility. You don't have responsibility, you learn responsibility, right? You learn how to make decisions. After preparation is graduation. Graduation is where you're saying, well, look, you know what? I'm going to give you responsibility now. I'm going to give you responsibility, and when I give you responsibility, you're accountable to me. And in being accountable to me now, I still have some control, but what I'm telling you is that I'm trusting you. I'm beginning to trust you with the reins of this business. After graduation is equality. Equality is when you can now tell your children or your successors, I believe in you. I think you have necessary qualities. I think you have the experience. I think you have the mindset, the passion, that you can now be in charge of certain things in the family business. I don't need to watch over your shoulder. You're not in charge of everything yet. You now have certain spheres of influence where you are totally in control of that, in control of the decision making, in control of, let's say, how those areas perform. And finally, right after equality, is a natural ascendancy. A natural ascendancy. And in a natural ascendancy, you know what is supposed to happen in a natural ascendancy? In a natural ascendancy, it is the successor assumes the role of the CEO. Assumes the role of the CEO simply because, you know what, he does everything that the CEO does. The CEO has trust in this person. The CEO says, look, you know what, I have given you everything that I can give you. I have taught you everything that I can teach you, and even though you have made a lot of mistakes, just as I have made a lot of mistakes, you are doing good work. And I keep giving you more and more things to do. Because you know what? I'm finding other things to do. So I'm traveling. I'm looking after the grandchildren. I'm just relaxing. Because you know what? I can trust you with the business. But in there are very important issues. In there are very important issues. And I think we'll come to that later, because that's when we talk about the dark side of family business and that sort of thing. But when it comes to succession, that is what my idea of succession is. I've always told my parents, who are the CEO, vice president, my mom and dad, I say, look, you know what? I wish you guys could be around for a very long time. And why I say that is if we go back to basics. Basics is a family business is really about family relationships and the quality of family relationships. You cannot have mom, dad, son, sister, son, wife, sister, husband, everybody in the business, and not have proper family relationships. Now, who takes the reign of this enormous balancing act? Right? This enormous balancing act. Who takes responsibility, this enormous balancing act of maintaining harmony in this entire family relationship? What happens if brother can't get along with sister? What happens if spouses can't get along with founders? It affects the business, and that's a problem with family businesses, a great problem with family businesses, which, if we go back, is one of the differences as well too with non-family businesses and family businesses. And I've always found that, in my experience, the CEO of the company, vice president, as my mom, and they have great skill in doing these things. Great skill in maintaining balance in family relations, in the family relationship. They know how to deal with the hard-charging son, which was me, at one point in time, right? And teaching them, look, you know what, you need to be more diplomatic. You need to put yourself in my shoes and look at things from my point of view.